It was on record when TV was first rolled out in the 40s that after a few minutes of watching TV, the first time you watch television, it takes on average about an hour in the major studies that you can pull up online for someone to have suspended disbelief. After someone has had suspended disbelief one time, it takes on average about 2 minutes. The eyes are a electrochemical coupler. Your eyes are the window to your mind, your soul. Your eyes are the electrochemical receiver couplers. Just like you have infrared systems they can transmit data over, just like they have light bulbs now that communicate with your computers. That's what your eyes are doing. They're receivers. They're stalks. When you're in your embryonic development, just a few weeks into development, from the back of the brain grows the eye stalks. In fact, your eyes are brain tissue, ladies and gentlemen. When you're looking at someone's eyes, you're looking at their brain. You're looking into my eyes right now. You're looking at Alex Jones's brain, my most important sense. My brain looking right at you. Your brain looking right back at me right now. Now, you're not just looking at the image and the audio of what I'm saying and doing. Your body is picking up the body language. It's picking up the tones. It's picking up from an instinctive level whether you think I'm telling the truth or not. You're intellectually also scanning for data you have to see if it compares and matches what I'm saying. But the globalists can now trump all of that. They can feed through, even though I'm sending out a clear signal, they can feed over the broadcaster transmission signal after they get my original signal, the video stream we're sending out. They can add magnetic light energy in the patents. There's 3 different ways to do it. They could embed it to make you docile, to make you hungry, to make you angry, to make you be sexually aroused, to make you go into a deeper sleep state, and they can even ratchet down your sleep state until you go into a oxygen deprivation zone of deep sleep, which is near death and can even put you into death. You understand that? We're being hit by mega 21st century advanced technology. That's why the globalists don't care what we think anymore. That's why they don't care about Alex Jones. They know the average yuppie watching this is just going to laugh, is totally defenseless. We've got to have debates about this and what we're going to do in the future and how we're going to respond to this. Because this is all real. This is happening. Now, in another issue, because we don't normally have guests on in the first hour, but the only time we could have him is in the first hour. Lord Monckton's coming on about some issues that connect in with all of this. Then we've got the whole mind control, psychotronic, light wave, electromagnetic manipulation of the mind coming up in the second hour. The third hour is going to be absolutely paramount important because I'm going to give people the decipher code key. Not that it's hard. It's like having a pair of keys and sticking it in your car and starting it. But if you don't have the keys, it's really hard to start that car. I have the keys from the globalist own admissions of exactly the synthesis, the dialectics they're using, with Michael Moore coming out and saying, you don't own your own wealth. It's a natural resource. It's a national resource. And the Wisconsin protesters coming up to Tea Party people and saying, you don't have a right to your own money. And they're serious. And they're trying to stop them from having their free speech. These are tyrants. Now, the governor of Wisconsin is a tyrant. So are the unions. See, the globalists know you're operating in a one-dimensional facet. So they're saying either the unions are bad or the governor's bad. No. They're all within a controlled political paradigm. And I'm going to break this down. You know, Michael Moore talks about the bankers being crooks. Yeah. But see, they engineered the socialist system to get the money. We're gonna break it all down.
HempUSA.org has a revolutionary wonder food for detoxing the body and rebuilding the immune system. Microplant powder can help unclog arteries and soften heart valves while removing heavy metals, virus, fungus, bacteria, and parasites. Plus, it cleans and purifies the blood, lungs, stomach, and colon. Keep your body clean with Microplant powder. Visit us at HempUSA.org or call 908-691-2608 today.
Hi, this is Ted Anderson. Have you ever wondered why banks, stockbrokers, investment advisors won't talk about gold IRAs? They've been available since 1986, yet the financial industry won't recognize the value of gold for your retirement. Gold has outperformed paper investments, yet no word about IRAs. If you would like to have gold for your retirement, call 800-686-2237. Don't get left behind by rising inflation and low returns. Call 800-686-2237. Secure your future and call 1-800-686-2237.
America, you've been warned. For weeks, we've been warning you about a single event we believe will happen in the next 12 months that will shake the very foundations of our nation. We've told you about the video that details this shocking prediction. So far, over 6 million people have watched this free video online. Have you? Again, this big event has nothing to do with war or the stock market, yet it could change everything about your normal way of life. The way you shop, travel, invest, educate your children, and even how you take care of your health and your family. Could this really happen? Well, the man who created this video has been right about many predictions in his career. He was among the first to predict the collapse of GM, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, and America's biggest mall owner, General Growth Properties. In fact, Barron's called his work a dire prophecy. If you haven't taken time to watch this free video, do it right now. You may never think about America the same way again. You can find the free video at endofamerica3.com. Again, that's www.endofamerica3.com. Watch the free video at endofamerica3.com. That's endofamerica3.com.
As many people know, ever since President Nixon took us off the gold standard, the U.S. dollar has been devaluating. What people don't know, however, is how this directly affects your personal finances. Is there a way to protect your portfolios from losing value? The answer to all of this is gold and silver. They both have maintained their purchasing power for 6,000 years. If you had $100,000 in cash and $100,000 in gold and silver back in 1913 and kept them until now, your cash would have the buying power of only $4,800, but your gold and silver would have the buying power of $3 million. The answer to protecting your assets is simple. Call John Ballman today at 1-800-686-2237, extension 169. Get all your questions answered before your money is worth zero. Call 1-800-686-2237, extension 169. Take action today while we still accept paper dollars for gold. That's 1-800-686-2237, extension 169.
Becoming a modern smoker is now easier and more cost-effective thanks to LeSig. Traditional smokers the world over love LeSig. E-cigarettes with a look, feel, and taste of real cigarettes, but without the nasty smoke, ashes, or stains. LeSig is powered by revolutionary microelectronic technology. A small rechargeable battery and unique replaceable cartridge provide all the satisfaction and benefits of smoking without the smoke and all the hazards. See the large variety of LeSig e-cigarette supplies and accessories at LeSig.com. That's LECIG.com. LeSig is competitively priced, comes with the best customer service, a 30-day warranty, and satisfaction guaranteed. What a great gift idea. For a 10% discount, mention GCN when you call 870-518-4307. That's 870-518-4307. Ask for fast, free, same-day shipping. Order online at LeSig.com and use promo code GCN at checkout. That's LECIG.com. LeSig, for today's modern smoker.
Okay, we've only got him to the end of the hour. The Dr. Nick Begich is going to be joining us. Then I'll get into, in the third hour, these Wisconsin protesters on video saying you have no right to your money. They actually believe it. And if you don't think that means you're a slave, it means they'll put you in a forced labor camp. I mean, these are the heirs of Stalin. But we're going to look at the other end of that you have the big corrupt multinational banks that nobody wants to talk about. So we're going to be discussing that in the third hour today after Dr. Nick Begich joins us. Lord Christopher Monckton, 3rd Viscount of Monckton and Brenchley, Formerly a member of the Conservative Party, Monckton has been the deputy leader of the UK Independence Party since 2010. He served in Conservative Central Office and worked with Margaret Thatcher at number 10 and policy unit advising her. He's also an award-winning journalist and scientist who's also an inventor. And the website is scienceandpublicpolicy.org. Really doesn't need any introduction. We only have him for about 30 minutes. So in the interest of time, Lord Monckton, we now see the head of the Goddard Space Center. We see Maurice Strong. We see Ted Turner. They all say we want a post-industrial world, but China can build 3 to 5 new power plants a week. Obama won't let any new ones open here. And now I have the article out of the Daily Telegraph, era of constant electricity at home is ending, says Power Chief, and he says that it's true, that it's good, that England will be like North Korea in the next 10 years and that you won't have power a lot of the time, but that's good to cut your carbon footprint.
It's just pathetic how the entire governing class has become infected with what really one could only call a sort of post-Marxist desperation. They are longing to shut down the economies of the West. And when the likes of you and me, Alex, began saying this, that this was their real agenda, we were told we were extremists, we were lunatics, we were frothing at the mouth, we didn't know what we were talking about. Now they're coming out more and more openly and saying it publicly. And instead of the wall-to-wall outrage that ought to be happening, people are just saying, yes, we got used to these people, they say this sort of thing, perhaps they don't really mean it. Just the same kind of rabbit-in-the-headlights response as we saw in the run-up to Hitler, when he began saying similar extraordinary things, and people just quietly looked the other way and said, well, let's all be nice to him and hope that he goes away. The fact is, we can't allow these people any longer to get away with what they're getting away with. What they're doing is exploiting our democratic tolerance and understanding in the hope that they can destroy it forever and shut it down and put in its place something a great deal more authoritarian. Let me give you, first of all, a bit of background to the chief of the National Grid here in the UK. Now, what he's talking about, though he hasn't admitted it publicly, but I have made some investigations privately, so I can tell your viewers and listeners, and you can be the first to know this, that during the cold snap, indeed the coldest December since records began in 1659 in central England, the power grid came in the UK, throughout the whole of the UK, within just 3% of its capacity. And of course, if you reach anything like that capacity, you can trip the whole grid out and black out not just part of the country, but the whole country. That very, very nearly happened. Why did it happen? Because the government here, which in all three of the major parties, so-called, doesn't believe in the coal-fired and gas-fired electricity which our economy was built on.
And by the way, Lord Monckton, that actually happened all over the U.S., and the White House actually attacked PrisonPlanet.com in our article and said we were liars, that they didn't have an anti-power plant agenda. But then the next week, their energy secretary came out and said we're going to have massive coal plant closures on top of what they've already had. And now the head of your energy program says, get ready to not have power a lot of the time.
That's right. I mean, and the background to this is that we very nearly didn't get it. And why? It's because the windmills that are supposed to be generating 5% of our electricity weren't generating any. Their contribution to the grid in December was 0.0% because the wind basically didn't blow. We were under a blocking high. That's when you need the windmills the most, and they're not there. So closing down these coal plants and thinking you can replace them with useless windmills that cost 26 times as much to generate electricity, this is not a forward-thinking, radical or sensible green energy policy. The only green energy policy that would work to keep the lights on and the wheels of industry turning, and prosperity as well, is to go nuclear if you don't want to keep the coal-fired plants. But of course, the coal-fired plants...
And quite frankly, Lord Monckton, and we'll get your view on this on the other side, I think that nukes overall are not as good as coal. We got so much of it. It's completely clean now. And carbon dioxide is good for plants. I say more coal plants.